Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today is Saturday, so that means it's Eric Larson Day. We are looking at the Savage Dragon issue 6, cover dated November, I believe, 1993. Let me double check that real quick. Yeah, we're still in 1993. Starting off with the cover. This is a play, I'm pretty sure, on that classic trope of the character walking away from the team in the background, right? We saw that with John Byrne. I think originally he kind of came up with that first design, but I could be wrong. He may have gotten inspiration from, some Silver Age comic. But definitely think that after that, Rob Liefeld did it on New Mutants, credited as a homage to John Byrne. And here it's kind of the reverse, where it's a team walking away from a single character. But I still think the basic idea probably in composition comes from that. So well done here on the cover. All black comics are usually hard to keep in really mint condition. Not that I try that hard. Most of my comics are like reader copies, but you can see that right away, just one little nick or something, it really shows up. Not so many problems as with Ronin originally. Was one of the first comics to try like an all black cover, and there's some huge issues originally on the issue 1 of Ronin. At some point I'll review the original Ronin series. We'll talk about that. But doesn't seem to be a problem here. Image was known for their higher production values and better inks and stuff in the early 90s. So I guess relatively well-conserved black cover here. I like the fact that the silhouette, the shadows on the Savage Dragon just kind of melt into the background here. Just got that kind of circular light there. Really nice kind of simple design effect, very contrasty. And this alludes also, this cover, to I've talked about in prior reviews how a lot of the Image guys kind of did some secondary series and moved some stuff onto their batch studio of artists that they had, right? And the quality was usually lacking. But with Eric Larson, he did take the time to establish these characters first in the main title, the Savage Dragon. I think overall, I've talked about how I think he's the best at doing that at Image, creating kind of a mini universe and interconnecting titles and stuff. Definitely the one who's the best at it. Tom McFarlane was all right, but Larson, just in that more traditional mold, at least early on, of doing that, was the best at it compared to, say, Jim Lee or Rob Liefeld or even Mark Silvestri with his studio. And I don't mean in terms of sales. I mean in terms of continuity and storytelling and making sense. So Larson just did have that concern of things have to make sense and hopefully organically, move into other stuff to a certain level at least, right? So I think that's what he was trying to do here. And again, this cover basically tells the story that, they wanted these guys to all join the police force to help Dragon and stuff, but they quickly realized they don't want to work within the confines of the police department. And that's where they're going to break on their own in this issue. And that's where these characters, this batch of characters, spin off into Freak Force, right? Which I actually collected early on. I think I got till about issue 9 or 10 or something like that. And not bad stuff. I mean, again, storytelling. Eric Larson, I'm pretty sure, was still the writer there. He's at least writing with someone else. The stories, stood their ground and were solid compared to, again, a lot of the studio stuff from Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld, right? It really felt like Eric Larson was actually trying to do something properly, where maybe with Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee, it felt like they were just trying to cash in a little bit, just get something out there, right? That's my impression. Let's open this guy up here and have a look inside, see if what I'm saying is all a bunch of gobbledygook. Using the old Frank Miller trope here of getting some exposition and story across, catching you up, basically. It's kind of the old Marvel method. Everyone's comic is probably their first, so you got to bring them up to speed. I mean, this is a good way as any if you're going to do that. Instead of just having characters around explaining things that they already know. So, creator, writer, penciler, inker, Eric Larson. Letters, Chris Eliopoulos. One day I will say that properly on the first go. Colorist, Ruben Rude and Steve Olaf. And that's where I stop. So, bringing us up to speed, what we saw last issue. Dragon and the future members of Freak Force in the back. Horridus, Barbaric, Rapture, Dart have infiltrated or busted into a vicious circle, I guess, arena or hangout or bar or something, and they're just there to kick ass and arrest them, I guess. Larson still doing the double page splash on the first page turn, right? Not necessarily doing the splash on page 1, but sticking to the double page splash for pages 2 and 3. Kind of a Kirby trope, which I think is great. And in this issue, even throws in right away another double page splash there. another impressive shot as well here. Great composition from Eric Larson. I would expect no less. You know, he's just kind of riffing on that Kirby style of action here. Lots of different planes, characters in the foreground, the background. Lots of depth to the image. Even just adding that silhouette of the dragon back here is really cool. Don't think I even noticed that until now. Not sure about this troll Wolverine kind of like character. Kind of not on purpose, I'm sure, but kind of reminds me of that character in the Berserkers from Rob Liefeld. That, you know, I recently, I'll just mention this. I recently asked a question on one of the Facebook groups, the Rob Liefeld Facebook groups, about that character, because it really does look, if you look at Youngblood #2, that he's just running around butt naked. Again, go look at Youngblood #2, see what I'm talking about. And I actually got a response back directly from Rob Liefeld, who said, yeah, he's definitely running around butt naked. So that was interesting. It was a question I wondered, again, for years and years since I was a kid. Was that just a miscolor? Did someone forget to color in some underoos? Or is he literally, like I said, running around with his ass hanging out? And answer from the man himself, Rob Liefeld, ass hanging out. I gotta say that the layouts and these action sequences are just stellar. For, you know, every shot has some sort of interest to it, right? Like, this is very dynamic at an angle. This foreshortening here and the darts flying out of the panel, the hand as well, I think popping past the border is always great. I mean, look, Larson's doing a lot of that all the time, right? He's doing it here, he's doing it here. Like, it's definitely helping him make the characters even more kinetic, even though he already excels at that, I would say, generally. Great shot of him interjecting here from the, you know, right to left is always more kind of unexpected than left to right, because of how we read things in North America. I guess in Japan it would be, or parts of Asia it would be the opposite, right? So this is a little more surprising and a kind of a shock, a slight shock, I guess, that, you know, she's about to be cut by this guy here. I guess his name is Shrapnel, I think. He's just throwing a bunch of glass at her. Savage Dragon interjects and catches it all in the chest, right? Because he's, you know, he heals pretty quickly. Now this character and the way he talks, I don't know if he's supposed to be autistic or something. Not trying to insult anyone out there, but, you know, you've got this guy, Birdie, feel the power of dung, UI. So I think what he's saying is, like, dung is poop, right? It's shit, and he's just shitting out of his arms here. I mentioned before about Eric Larson's love of characters who are, you know, related to pus or snot or poop. Here's a good example. I really enjoy those because I enjoy creating characters like that myself. So I like that pee-pee caca kind of stuff. It still, at this age, makes me laugh. Here's some dung for your face, for your eye. Badaw, yow, baby. Like, just a weird speech pattern that I think is interesting. It's almost like, I wonder if he's, like, is there some sort of inspiration from Bobcat Goldthwait or something? Not sure. So here, Barbaric punches a guy so hard his head kind of just pops off, and he's like, oh my god, you know, I don't think he was expecting that. And it's not going well until Mighty Man shows up. Just to point out, like, the Eric Larson's mastery of foreshortening. Like, how extreme is this shot here with the speed lines, and the fist is just huge, right? The fist is like twice the size of his head. And then, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, you can fit almost 12 of the other fist in this fist here, right? And it would seem to be too exaggerated or whatever, but he just makes it work, and he's got that Kirby vibe to it. I love drawings like this. I marvel at that. I try to do that, to strive for that level of, you know, precision in the foreshortening where, you know, even though it's exaggerated, it works. Just such a great job here. Unfortunate, I don't know if it's a, you know, some sort of formatting issue at some point. I feel like some of the art was cut off here. Don't know what happened. I don't feel like Larson would have drawn that right to the edge there. Probably, you know, you as an artist, you avoid those things, so you leave a bit of negative space around the fist, around the shoulder, and I don't see it there, so something maybe happened in production. So yeah, this is kind of like when Superman shows up in Justice League, right? And just saves everyone's ass, basically. That's what's happening here with Mighty Man. So, gather up all the criminals, right? Send some people who are beat up to the hospital. And then we've got Savage Dragon back at the station dealing with this lady here, Schwartzblatt, Miss Emily Schwartzblatt. She's the lady who thinks the Savage Dragon is her son. And, you know, he's like, she's explaining to him and he's like, yeah, right, okay, I don't have time, lady. And she says, I've got pictures. So that piques his interest. And we're just going to take a break because I remember last review saying I don't actually remember the Jay Lee poster in this issue. I was saying I hope that actually happened because sometimes, you know, the image guys would announce stuff and it wouldn't come out or it wouldn't happen. That was a pretty common thing. Happy to say that the Jay Lee poster is here. And let's have a look at it. I think it's pretty darn awesome and really fun, I guess I would say. So he's kicking Super Patriot's head off here. Lots of blood. This is Jay Lee, maybe a little bit past his original kind of dark style that he had on Namor, Simon Bisley inspired, kind of like Mignola, Simon Bisley mixed together. And here he's starting to render a little bit more and in a little bit more detail, little more of a fine line and stuff, showing his knowledge of anatomy. Not quite what we getting in like Inhumans and stuff and later on and his current style, but I definitely see he's more on the way. He's starting to not exaggerate the proportions so much. Or as much as he was before. But yeah, it's a great image. Like he's got the balls to just black out the whole leg there in silhouette. It takes balls as an artist, and it works. It's like he's bringing attention to the fact, you know, he puts his signature right under. He's like, yeah, I got the balls to just silhouette out a whole leg. Next issue, Vanguard poster by Jason Pearson. I think I kind of remember that one. We'll see next issue. So he's looking at the pictures of Rodney, her son, right? And it looks like him a lot, right, with the mohawk and stuff. But he's like, it doesn't feel right to me, and he doesn't think, I'm not your son, Miss Schwartzblatt. No, you're not anymore. So, still kind of a mystery there. We don't know if, you know, he literally is or not. We'll probably find out later. So we've got a bit of just soap opera drama here, right? All the characters here moving on, basically, from the police force, saying that they're not satisfied with having to wear the uniform and all of that. So that's basically what's happening here is they quit the police force, and we'll find out in Freak Force #1 what happens next for these characters here. And Dragon kind of, I guess what Larson artistically is trying to get across is obviously he feels kind of let down and all by his own, all alone now. So I think the way it's conveyed here in the panel, the first panel where he doesn't say anything, just that expression on his face says it kind of, and then, you know, this whole panel here, the way the floor kind of disappears, it's almost ghost-like image, you know, those moments where you almost like forget the world around you. I think visually very well represented here by Erik Larsen. That's a great job of, you know, how you kind of feel about the world around you in those moments. And clever thing here, once again, to show how alone the dragon is, just, you know, surround him by a harsh black floor here with no other people, right? So he's kind of alone in the office. And man, how harsh is that floor? Great shot here. Just conveys, these three panels here just convey the same thing in three different ways visually that I think really work. No words needed, right? Like I talked about in comics, dialogue should be there to support the art, not to explain what's happening. Hopefully the art should do that already. So these three shots, great examples of the art talking, no words needed, and we totally understand what's going on. So his partner Alex trying to cheer him up here, and in talking to Frank, they realize that now they can finally go after Overlord, and I assume that's what's happening in the next issue, but I'm not sure if it's issue 6 or 7. What are we on here? Sometimes I forget. So we are on issue 6. I do think issue 7, the next issue, is the confrontation with Overlord. Let's see. Savage Dragon versus Overlord. The fate of Frank Darling, a furious brawl like no other. Be here. If I'm not mistaken, it's an all splash page issue, but I'll give you more detail and talk more about that, obviously, when I have it in front of me next week for next Saturday's Erik Larsen review of the Savage Dragon #7. This was the Savage Dragon #6. If you are subscribed still and watching the videos, thank you so much. I really appreciate you still being there. If you're watching videos but you're not subscribed, please do so. It really helps us out. Helps send out the channel to other people who are like-minded and have the same interests. And I just want to wish everyone out there checking out the videos, have an awesome day. King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13. 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages. cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at kingcomics.ca, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.
Like, subscribe.